What if that person constantly living rent-free in your mind isn't there by accident? In fact, according to Carl Jung's shocking discovery, those obsessive thoughts about them might be hiding the most powerful secret about yourself. A secret that's been trying to get your attention all along. Think about it. That ex you can't forget, that crush who keeps appearing in your dreams, or even that stranger who randomly occupies your thoughts. Jung discovered something mind-blowing about why they're really there. And what I'm about to reveal isn't just some surface-level psychology. It's a hidden message from your unconscious mind that most people never discover. A message so powerful, it could transform how you see yourself forever. But here's the thing. What Jung found isn't what anyone expects. In fact, it challenges everything you think you know about why certain people stick in your thoughts. The truth is, these persistent thoughts aren't just random mental glitches. They're actually trying to tell you something crucial about yourself, something that could change everything. And trust me, once you understand what's really happening in your mind, you'll never look at these thoughts the same way again. Because what Jung discovered about our obsessive thoughts reveals something far deeper than just attraction or missing someone. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why your mind seems obsessed with certain people? It's like they've taken up permanent residence in your thoughts. No lease, no explanation, just constant mental appearances you never signed up for. But here's where it gets interesting. Carl Jung, one of history's most brilliant psychological minds, discovered something shocking. He found that when someone keeps appearing in your thoughts, it's far from random. In fact, it might be one of the biggest clues to understanding your deeper self. Think about it. Is it really just love? Obsession? Or is there something far more profound happening beneath the surface? Something even you aren't aware of? Because what Jung uncovered about these persistent thoughts was so revolutionary, it completely changes how we understand our mind's deepest workings. He found that these thoughts aren't just about the other person. They're actually a window into parts of yourself you've never explored. But before I reveal what's really going on here, you need to understand something crucial about your unconscious mind. Something so powerful, it explains why certain people seem to have this mysterious hold over your thoughts. And trust me, what comes next might completely change how you see that person who's been living in your head. Because the real reason they're there? It's probably not what you think. Here's section 2. Blending oxytocin for emotional connection with dopamine triggers for sustained engagement. Picture your mind as an iceberg. What you're consciously aware of, your thoughts, feelings, and daily awareness, that's just the tiny tip floating above the water. But beneath the surface, that's where the real power lies. A massive hidden realm of your unconscious mind. Now here's what makes this fascinating. Jung discovered that when someone keeps appearing in your thoughts, they're actually triggering something deep in that underwater part of your mind. Something you might not even know exists within you. Think about the last time this person popped into your mind. Maybe they said something that struck a deeper chord, or perhaps they embody something you secretly wish you could be. These aren't coincidences. They're messages from your unconscious, trying desperately to tell you something important. But here's the part that might shake you. What if I told you that this person who's constantly on your mind isn't really about them at all? What if they're actually holding up a mirror to a hidden part of yourself? Because buried in that vast underwater portion of your mind lies something Jung called the shadow. And this is where things get really interesting. This shadow holds secrets about yourself that you've either forgotten, denied, or never knew existed. And that person occupying your thoughts? They might be the key to unlocking these secrets. But before I reveal exactly how this works, you need to understand something crucial about the shadow that changes everything. Let's dive into what Jung called the shadow. And trust me, it's not what you think. It's not just your dark side or negative traits. The shadow is everything about yourself that you've pushed away, denied, or haven't yet discovered. And here's the mind-blowing part. It might be using that person in your thoughts to get your attention. Think about it this way. Have you ever been inexplicably drawn to someone's confidence while you struggle with self-doubt? Or maybe you're captivated by their creative spirit because you've buried your own artistic dreams. This is your shadow at work, using them as a messenger. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Sometimes the people who annoy you the most are actually reflecting parts of yourself you refuse to acknowledge. That person whose arrogance drives you crazy, or whose impulsiveness makes you cringe. Jung discovered these strong reactions often point to traits we possess, but don't want to face. Your relationships with others are actually mirrors of your relationship with yourself. When someone occupies your thoughts, they're not just random mental visitors. They're representing pieces of your shadow begging for attention. It's like your unconscious mind is saying, "Hey, we need to talk about this." This is why trying to forget them or push them out of your mind rarely works. Because the real issue isn't them. It's the part of yourself they're reflecting. And until you acknowledge this, they'll keep showing up in your thoughts like a persistent reminder. But here's the game-changing truth Jung discovered. Your shadow isn't something to fear or avoid. In fact, it holds the key to your greatest potential. As Jung famously said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. And this leads us to something even more powerful, the concept of projection. Because what you're about to learn about how your mind projects onto others will completely transform how you see these persistent thoughts. Now let's explore something truly fascinating, what Jung called the anima and animus. These aren't just fancy psychological terms. They're powerful forces living in your unconscious that might explain why that person won't leave your thoughts. Here's the profound truth. Jung discovered that everyone, regardless of their identity, carries both feminine and masculine energies within them. The anima is the feminine essence in men, while the animus is the masculine essence in women. But don't get too caught up in gender. These are symbolic representations that exist in everyone's psyche. So what does this have to do with that person living rent-free in your head? Everything. According to Jung, when someone keeps appearing in your thoughts, it's often because they're resonating with your anima or animus. They're awakening these deeper parts of your psyche that are yearning for expression. But here's where it gets really interesting. Sometimes, these forces create powerful illusions. You might be projecting an idealized image onto this person, seeing them not as they truly are, but as your unconscious wants them to be. Think about it. Have you ever built someone up in your mind, only to realize later they were nothing like your mental image of them? This is where projection comes in, and it's absolutely wild. Jung found that much of what we feel about others has little to do with them and everything to do with us. It's like your mind is a movie projector, casting your own thoughts, desires, and fears onto others, like they're a blank screen. Let's break this down with a mind-blowing example. When you admire someone's ambition, it might actually be your own untapped potential calling out to you. Or when someone's emotional vulnerability makes you uncomfortable, it could be highlighting your own fears about opening up. The tricky part? These projections feel incredibly real. You might think, they're amazing, or they're terrible, without realizing you're actually talking about aspects of yourself. As Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. But here's what makes this even more fascinating. Sometimes these thoughts and projections align with real-world events in ways that seem impossible to explain. This leads us to one of Jung's most mysterious discoveries, synchronicity. And what he found about these meaningful coincidences might explain why that person keeps showing up in your life in unexpected ways. Now, let's talk about one of Jung's most mysterious discoveries, synchronicity. Have you ever thought about someone, only to have them text you moments later? Or maybe you've been thinking about them for weeks, and suddenly you bump into them in the most unexpected place. Jung called these meaningful coincidences, and they're far from random. But here's the powerful truth. Synchronicity isn't just the universe playing tricks. Jung believed these moments are calls to action, invitations to look deeper into why this person keeps showing up in your life and what you're meant to learn from them. Are they triggering an unresolved emotion, representing a path you're afraid to take? Or maybe they're here to remind you of your own untapped potential, So how do you actually decode what your mind is trying to tell you? Here are 3 transformative steps that can turn these persistent thoughts into powerful tools for growth. First, reflect. When this person appears in your thoughts, pause and ask yourself, what emotions surface? Are you inspired by their confidence? Frustrated by their actions? Drawn to their spirit? These feelings are your first clues to understanding what they represent in your unconscious. Second, analyze. Dig deeper into those emotions. If you admire their creativity, it might be your own artistic spirit crying for expression. If their rejection stings, it could be highlighting deeper wounds around self-worth. Try journaling about these feelings. You might be surprised at what surfaces. Third, act. This is where real transformation happens. Use these insights to grow. Maybe it's time to build that confidence you admire in them, embrace your creative side, or heal those old emotional scars. Remember, this isn't about changing them. It's about transforming yourself. As Jung wisely said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Don't let these thoughts control you. Instead, see them as treasure maps leading to deeper self-understanding. Because in the end, that person living rent-free in your mind isn't just a random occupant. They're a key to unlocking parts of yourself you never knew existed. They're not your destination. They're your guide to something far more powerful, your own untapped potential. So the next time they appear in your thoughts, don't push them away. Ask yourself, what part of me is trying to be heard? What growth is my unconscious inviting me toward? Because the answer might just transform your life. If this deep dive into Jung's wisdom has opened your eyes to something new, hit that like button. It helps share this knowledge with others who might be struggling with similar thoughts. And if you want to explore more profound insights about your mind and soul, subscribe to join us on this journey of self-discovery. Because sometimes, the most powerful revelations come from the thoughts we least expect. What unconscious message might be trying to reach you right now? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insight might be exactly what someone else needs to hear.